viewer. Anyway, so this came up when we've been working with the gentleman Robbie Z down in Mexico about his stolen guitar collection, and we've had lots of leads. Thank you to everyone for doing that.
Yes, we appreciate it.
And we've fed any of the leads we have to the police involved in Robbie Z in particular. So he has private investigators and police forces are trying to help him, and we've got some other schemes that we're doing just to help with stolen guitars across this strange land of ours, because it really frustrates us. But we were in our course of discovery, we've heard some. I'm going to kind of keep names out of this a little bit because it's still an investigation for some of this. But there's been some situations where a large amount of guitars, like 200, were brought to like a major guitar reseller.
Yep. Vintage guitars.
And
there's a lot of vintage guitars.
And these were all bought by this guitar reseller, and this is a West Coast thing. And there was not really any investigation into like the background or plausibility of where these guitars came from.
Right.
The gentleman selling these guitars didn't know anything about guitars. They weren't his guitars. He just inherited them, which is possible.
It's possible.
But from multiple inside sources now that we've talked to, the guitars were bought at this place, and then they were distributed sort of between the employees that were able to buy them too, which is not a common practice of this company.
Like they had first dibs.
First dibs, which is not at all.
No.
Which means there's some sketchiness. Like this happens every once in a while, and like it made us explore like our own practices on when we buy, vintage gear. Or just any gear.
Any used gear, really, when it walks in the shop.
When it's coming, like we sort of, it's like, wow, like have we bought stolen gear before?
Right.
And we've had a few situations where like these guys were sketchy.
We've even had some situations where we, kind of try to have the guys hang out while we called the police to kind of check and just see what the deal was.
Or just we checked our sources that we could find, like, hey, what's out there? What's missing? Is there anything? Because you can't call the police on whoever you think's just sketchy. It's not okay.
Or can you? No, it's true.
I mean, that'd be every guitar player. That'd be every bass player. I'm sorry.
We get the police calling us all the time. Yeah.
No, so it's like that, because that really did trigger like the brains like going, oh no, like, do we need to like come up with systems? Like we're like, yeah, we do. So we've started developing that. We're thinking about some things in other ways too, but it's a scary idea, because if you have your pieces stolen, and how are you going to track them down?
Especially, I mean, it's one thing if they come to a shop. They come to a shop and they're aware that it's stolen, right? And they take it in and, want to sort of work and do the right thing. That maybe is helpful. But if they come into a shop, they don't know or care that it's stolen, and then it gets sold.
Yeah, it's
really hard to recover at that point.
And like, this is almost like a pitch to everybody out there on Reverb, everyone on Craigslist, everyone on Facebook Marketplace, and everyone that works at a guitar shop too, like us included. Like we were not as policing of this as we should have been. But just like, take a second look at it and think about when we see like a vintage Jazzmaster Strat, Jaguar Tele, our eyes all light up. Right? Like who's not excited about that?
Yeah, it's cool.
And we're like, oh my God, we have this is exciting, it's cool. We also have a chance to get this. It's a great thing for us to be able to sell.
It's part of why we do this, right? To see that kind of stuff. That's what excites us.
But if it's from someone that has no idea, besides a cursory look at on Reverb what this guitar is worth or what it even is.
Right.
Like this is and
they're willing to take like nothing for the guitar. Bad sign.
I don't know, I started realizing like if we have these criminals, we should just offer them like hardly anything, because then they'll take it. But then they're just feeding the system, right? I was thinking like, oh, this is the bad guy way of playing it. You could do that. And I can totally get, because they just want to get it gone and not be culpable for the piece anymore. But I think it's sort of a call to all of us in the guitar like selling business, like from YouTubers to retail agencies like us, and shops that are much bigger than ours too. Just to like have a second look at some of these things. So it could be someone's heirloom piece. Yeah, could be someone's retirement.
Right.
Because I know some guys, like their one vintage piece is their retirement fund. And it might be something they gotten as a gift or something they actually invested in from years ago. And now it's like time to harvest that retirement. And you might be able to make $50,000.
Yeah.
And call it a day and never work for the man again. One day I can say that.
Just biding my time.
Me too.
Just biding my time.
Like take them and tell them take this job and shove it. Who sang that song? Take this job and shove it. You know, you don't know, do you?
Dang it.
Okay, he doesn't know, so if you know, let us
I do know. Why
Yeah,
don't I know that?
Stop thinking about it. It's over.
Dang
We moved
Okay.
past it. It's a one shot. It's like,
Sorry.
you get one shot, and if you miss, that's it. You have Eminem. I was getting ready to go,
Shoot your shot. Shoot your shot.
I know, we were going through like a thing where we were like trying to listen to all the old Eminem, like in the shop. And I was like, man,
It didn't really age that well, did it?
some of it didn't age so well.
Yeah,
Some of it's like still like, oh man, this is like hitting hard.
Some
And
of
then,
it.
like, it's just like fart jokes, like weird, like sort of like offensive, strange things that it wasn't. Yeah.
Eh.
I know. Anyway, it was a sad day, but yeah. So it's tricky out there right now because this is a golden age of buying and selling guitars. We have so many, like from Reverb to eBay to, again, Facebook Marketplace to Craigslist. All the great guitar shops are online. Like, have great pieces available.
Yep.
It's incumbent upon all of us that are in this game to like, also be extremely vigilant.
Yes.
And honest.
It's true.
No matter how amazing that, custom color shell pink Jaguar from '67 like walks through the door, like that'd be like my fantasy guitar. Like, yeah,
That would be your fantasy
I'll just
guitar.
take that, and I'm good for the rest of my life collecting guitars.
Baxter, should we list? No, don't list it. It's fine.
No,
It's going to the back.
That will stay in the back vault somewhere. That will be fine where we put it. It's because they did. It was actually quite upsetting when I heard like these and confirmed some of it about, like a shop that's supposed to sort of be a safeguard, like just taking. And I get it. It happens. Like we all have that greed of guitars, but it's like, wow, clearly something is wrong. Something should be checked if somebody's bringing in like shipments of a large amount of guitars like that.
Right.
It's not natural. I don't know. You got any other thoughts on that type of spin?
Not really. I mean, and I know there are some shops. There's a lot of shops out there who are very good about it, and big shops who have who have these systems.
No, because I'll call out a few because I know like we've had some good help with Robbie's in particular. One of the guitar centers down in Southern California, like that's how he got alerted to this whole thing. I can't remember where it was. If it was in the Bay Area, but they were awesome. The guy who works there is like, hey, we have one of your guitars here. I didn't know you were selling your guitar collection. He's like, I'm not. And that's when his heart sunk at first. Like, oh no, something's wrong. So he had to get on his first flight back. He had a friend go over to the storage locker immediately.
Dang.
And saw the lock was changed and all of his guitars were gone.
So he wouldn't have known.
He would have known. It would have been like months further before, like maybe a year.
Yeah.
Because he would go back annually to check his collection.
And I mean, I have to say, when I was at Guitar Center in Nashville, very good about it. Like, very good about being aware of what's stolen, what's being looked for, and had a few instances while I was there where we recognized stolen things that came in and helped.
And that's kind of the bonus of this age we live in right now with the community that has developed online, that, everyone's just kind of looking out for each other for the most part. You get the few little outliers there just trying to grab the goods, and then you got the criminals that are obviously just the criminals.
Right.
But in general, I think it's a pretty good group of guys just wanting to
I think so.
help folks out.
I think that's true.
We've had multiple. I had another story that was called in. We're gonna maybe do a whole thing on that. Like 40 guitars were stolen. A gentleman was in ICU dying, and somebody knew about this, has snuck into his house and stole all of his guitars.
Okay, that's horrible.
This is out in the West Coast as well.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it's like you're stealing from a dying man, and this was like these were guitars that would go, to his widow.
Yeah.
And a lifetime of collection of like really cool guitars. But yeah, so it's we take it pretty personally, and we think it's cool that the community out there has been so responsive.
Yes.
And so active, and just it's really positive. And so thank you all for that's been involved. But just help us keep an eye on it, and help keep an eye on all of us too, just to make sure like we keep an eye on what we're doing and how we bring these guitars in. It's pretty neat when you get a classic vintage piece.
It is.
But make sure it's like not ill-gotten goods.
It's true. That is not good. Not good for anybody.
Eyes out. Thank you guys for watching. We're gonna try to put some more systems in ourselves, and I hope everybody else does too. And thanks again.
There you go. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Click the bell so you don't miss videos in the future. As always, we appreciate you hanging out with us, and we will see you next time.